eating later at night before and then going to sleep, and that's a combination for weight gain right there. But it's also a matter of processing the stress and the unresolved things from the preceding day and preparing for the next one as well. So I'm aware of that. And usually, anyways, there's that element. Now, additionally, as a vegan, what I also recognize about myself, some people have different methodologies about how much to eat, and additionally, because many people in society are conditioned not to be mindful of what we're eating when we're full, and additionally, not even recognizing that eating is for physical nutrition and energy. So it's not even a matter of pleasure and taste and everything else like that. It's just like, yo, eat to live. So we, in Western society, are conditioned significantly to forget about that. Instead, develop appetites based on other things. Again, emotion and additionally. So, anyways, what's happening? What's going on, brother? I'm doing a lounge joint. Okay. Let's see. That's the first I'm doing this. I'm doing that request. So we'll see how this works. Presumably it works. I don't know. I have to view. Go live. I'm live. You're live.
Yes, Peter, how's it
Here it is. What's going on, brother?
going?
You got a haircut.
Not much. Oh, well, you met another one of our teammates.
Right.
You met him at Coventry.
I was gonna say,
my name's Corey.
Okay.
Yeah, you met Xavier. What's up?
I don't have my.
Yeah.
I don't have my headphones with me now, so I'm in a public place, and the volume's on low because I don't want to disturb people around me as well. So, because I'm gonna say,
Don't worry
I said,
don't worry
wait, you got a haircut and you got a little bit lighter. so
yeah, I've been away from the sun for a
one of the
little
brother's partners in the media joint, yeah.
Yes,
Cool.
yeah.
And so are you based in the what's it called, the Big T as well? I guess it's the Texas. I'm gonna give him Apache land.
Okay. I was there for a summer. I visited him and worked with him doing the coaching
so you do
for a
crew
summer.
as well.
But I'm right now.
You do a crew as well.
Say again?
Okay.
Yes. That's how we met.
Oh,
We went to high school together.
Shaker.
And
Okay.
yes, I'm from Shaker. Yes. Yeah, I'm in Columbus now, but he was 2 years older than me. He was my captain before I was captain. Showed me the way of rowing, and then now we're doing a media company together. So
all right,
it's great thing.
So where are you based?
Mm-hmm. Right now I'm in Columbus. Tied here because of school.
Okay.
Don't know where I'll be after that, but I'm here. I go from Columbus and Cleveland back and forth.
So all these notices that I'm seeing on the screen, those are people. They're connected with what we're doing at this moment? Yo, I'm old school, man. See these gray hairs? I explained it to the brother before. So
yeah. Hey, please, I'll answer everything,
like
man.
responses. I'm not familiar with that. So is this actually happening? Like people are seeing what we're saying at this moment? Wow, interesting.
Yeah, this is what. So we got Xavier. So you met Xavier. That's Xavier. Xanaton 2024, and Rajan. He's a rower from in Texas. So that's one of the rowers that Xavier coaches, and I coached him over the summer. And yeah, he's a great guy. He's a great kid.
So we're just gauging the circumstances. So that's all right. So I don't know if you caught like what I was talking about before jumping on or whatever. But basically, I was just talking about why I'm fat. And like what's going on with that?
Yeah. When I joined, all I heard was the Western society tries to what's the word? Tries to blanket, man. Coerce like certain values on us, and I didn't get the values. What values does the Western society push on us? What type of
So I was talking about nutrition, and I was talking about like how in Western society, I mean, we just think about it just as being animals, as like primal beings. Like animals eat for energy, and like
you don't see a lot of fat animals in the wild because guess what? They get eaten up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's a liability.
Yeah.
But in
Yeah.
human parlance, where we are very much all them things, what we're doing right now, there's that possibility, even that tendency and even favorability, particularly in certain periods of civilization, to be overweight as a sign of wealth or whatever else. Today, it's not necessarily as much as a sign of wealth. It's just like a happenstance. So, anyways, all that being said is that people who live in Western society for the past century, perhaps thereabouts, um, are conditioned by like the messaging, commercials, advertisements, children's cereal, for all the way through fast food. In addition, and so we have all these signals about like how of whetting our appetite for food and going for food and this and the other for all different types of purposes. Whether it's high, very expensive food and living that lifestyle, or whether it's just like fast, quick, easy, this and the other. But we get these conditioning so that instead of just eating for the sake of like nutrition, additionally, we're eating to gratify these psychological urges in addition. And so we have less of a sense of, we tend to have less of a sense of like eating just and stopping when we're full, but just like stopping when we don't have that necessity.
Yeah. It
Exactly.
becomes
So,
an addiction.
and I'm very mindful of how utilizing the word addiction, because we can just say that and then forget about what's actually happening. But there is an attachment to what's going on, and it becomes a dependency as well. So I know that about myself, and I was about to say, like, as a vegan, like, people have different ways of what I've observed is like even veganism like can be that way, because not all vegan food is healthy, particularly when we get into processed stuff, oils, fats, sugars, all that's vegan, and all that can add up, carbohydrates, and additionally. So what I recognize is that being vegan, I am increasingly mindful of food and nutrition additionally. And I know that a lot of people have different methodologies, particularly as athletes are trained, like how much to eat. And additionally, some people, I talked to Elder a few weeks ago, actually a few months ago, and he was like, yo, he looks at the size of his fist, and he's like, that's how much he eats. He's like, that's how big my stomach is. That's how much I need. But I also know he's old school, and what he's eating is meat. So he's getting his nutrients that are very concentrated in that animal flesh. But for me, as a vegan, like, eating this amount of salad ain't doing it. We can have have a big bowl, because it's a lot of leaves to do it. Like, we look at how much food elephants eat, like pounds and hundreds of pounds a daily basis of just
They don't
protein
stop.
from the plants, and additionally. And so it's a different methodology of eating. So for myself, I know, like, I've been healthy. I've even been emaciated in eating a lot of food, particularly, again, greens and rice in addition. But I also know I work it off. I walk a lot, and additionally, I eat during the day when I'm eating healthy and regimented amounts. But I just know, like, I can go guerrilla mode and just like eat a lot of plants, and additionally, and eventually work it off. But when I have that as a routine, when it's a behavioral pattern of just like not worrying about how much I'm eating and just like going to town because it's healthy. Then when I'm doing it with tortilla chips or potato chips at midnight, it adds up. And I've recently discovered what I refer to as as a marshmallow diet, which is having white bread. I have particularly like naan, and there's this if you know about Aladdin's, it's a Kyogi kind of bread company, whatever. They have this like naan like bread. Naan is from India. It's like a soft flat bread. And so Aladdin specializes in Mediterranean bread. I'm being kind of loud right now.
So are you saying like it's like a fake bread
it's
then?
a flat bread, but it's a white bread. It's made from like what's it called, bleached white flour, whatever. But anyway, my point is this: like, people talk about how this particular type of flour, like white flour, it's high carbs, it's high weight gain, and I call it a marshmallow diet because just eating a few packages of that in a week, marshmallow. And so I've started doing wheat from that as well. But anyways, all that being said, I also recognize that I'm being extremely loud, particularly when the music stops.
Oh, and
Yeah.
also I got one thing for you. We got a question from one of our viewers. Rajan's asking, how do you manage your soy intake and protein as a vegan?
Here's the other element of it as well, because as a vegan, we're presuming like having open economic options for eating whatever I want to eat, going to the grocery store and getting whatever I want to get. That's not the case. I have to be very mindful. So it's not a matter of just going to Whole Foods and just saying smorgasbord. It's a matter of like, yo, I have to get rice because it's less expensive, and I can stack it up. I can have it for a while and then cook it. It's a matter of having greens, but then like, where do we get the fresh produce? I'm living in a place people talk about what's it called, the food it's not food graveyards, but food deserts, where like fresh produce is not readily available. And again, I mean, particularly from a Rasta standpoint, we talk about ITAL, organic agriculture, because we know how many chemicals are being put in the produce. When pears or apples do not have seeds, that is not natural. That is not reproducing in a natural methodology. So,
yeah, because then you're like looking at how corporate gets into our our food system. Like they're finding the cheapest, fastest ways to produce our food. And like you look, like if you, I was just talking to this one guy. You walk into a grocery store, and like 80% of the food there is tampered with.
I mean, I was saying before, like processed food is dangerous. Processed food across the board is dangerous. And we can call it corporate, but I like, to be honest, like, if the corporation is organic and egalitarian and everything else like that, corporate can be beautiful. But it's the chemicals, it's the methodology that corporations often utilize, which is again bioengineering, genetically modified, tampering, and additionally that just has bad things. And again, it's like, and it looks, and that's the difficult thing, because if you look at an apple, it's like, yo, it's shiny, it's big, it's plump, it's juicy, because that is how it is designed to be. But and it can taste awesome and have all this flavor, and then just like taste healthy. But be careful, because that's the nature, quote unquote, of things at this moment. It's very deceiving. And so when we have organic, first of all, it's very expensive. It's not very available, and it's not very accessible. And so it's difficult to rely. So we can find places to get healthy rice, healthy beans, even organic, and additionally, and stack that up and have that available. Produce, we need to get that on a regular basis, every few days, every week or so, or thereabouts. And if that's not really available, it's very difficult to eat. Like greens is the healthiest thing we can eat. Collard greens, turnip greens, spinach, romaine lettuce. That's like medicine right there, straight up. If you go to a grocery store and you go to the green section, you will see an auntie there, and you can have I've had beautiful conversations with aunties just about greens, because they say that recipes and how to cook it and everything, and talk about their stories with the greens they're growing in their backyard. Because that's healthy, that's medicine, and our elders know about that. But it's not very readily available. And so it's being mindful of that, particularly organic greens as well. So it takes doing, and that's just the availability. Then when they had availability, you had the money, the cashola, because these markets, they work in conventional currency. And
eating is expensive. Eating something is very expensive.
And so that's one thing. And then when it's available, if you catch the bus, or I've given my car away. I have the righteous lifestyle, so called. But recognizing, I mean, the whole personal transportation vehicle methodology, that's a whole nother story. But I'm just saying, like, I can't just drive to the store, whatever. I have to plan. So I have to walk to the grocery store that's available to me, or if I catch the bus, and if it's a special trip or whatever else. But even then, like I said, like I deal with money as little as possible. So I look for co-ops. I look for people who I can have relationships with and build like ongoing kind of methodologies of exchange, bartering, and additionally. So that takes additional arrangements and everything else like that. So, anyways, it's a long story. There's a Rasta story that says it's a long story, but there's a lot of things that are involved in this and the methodology that I share in terms of just sustaining myself and in the nutrition. And then when those things aren't available, then it's reverting back to the unhealthy things, the processed food, not cooking for myself in addition. I didn't know we wanted to Zoom. Okay, cool. That's Xavier that's talking, yeah? What up, Xavier? All right.
Yes, that's Xavier. Yeah, he wants to make sure that we want you on a Zoom for this month.
So, anyways, that's the long story short. When I don't do those things, when I don't have it available, and all that takes is energy and thought and planning and it takes a lot of work. And I've been doing it for years, but it has to be kept on doing for it to work. And when it doesn't happen, I gotta eat, and I don't feel like cooking, and so I'm gonna go to the store and I'm gonna get readily available. And guess what? Fat, grease, oil, sugar, salt, and everything else like that. And anyways, that's it. So, what was me? I'm poor me, pity, whatever. But that's just a matter of understanding. So, here's like the kicker, the kicker, the icky of what I've learned in just these past weeks, because I've known all of this for a while now, so I should know better. But here's what I've learned: I can be disciplined, and I can be hardcore, and I can go to the store, and I know where to go at the Marks, right by where I stay, and they have organic spinach, and they have organic carrots, and they have like fair trade, vegan cereal, and I can get granola, and I know exactly where to go to get things that are healthy. But here's what I've learned: health is not just a matter of our individual health. Health is a matter of having of living with beings and life around us who's healthy as well. And so if I go to the store and I'm on my mindset, I'm just like, focusing on what's healthy, I'm putting my blinders on to everything that's going around me. That's not true health. And so I can do that. But there's also something to be said, and something that's necessary in terms of being in relationship with those around us and eating what those around us are. So if I'm doing it and everybody else is living unhealthy, that's just like me being rich and everybody else around me being poor. That ain't righteous, and that ain't sustainable either, to be honest. So what I've recognized again in this past couple of weeks, because I went to the store just a few days ago and I had like just a gang of potato chip bags, and I said, this is straight garbage. And when I went to the cashier, and they were like, come on, they were trying to like assure me like, oh no, and I was like, no, let's be honest about this is straight garbage. I had potato chips, tortilla chips, and snack bars. I said, this is straight garbage. Let's call it out, and because it's only when we call it out and recognize that we can actually like do something about it.
Because like, where's that flavor coming from? Where's that flavor coming from?
Yeah,
it's coming from
oil and salt, they do amazing things. Sugar does amazing things, and it's fine. It's fine in moderation. But when we go gung ho on it, it's not healthy. And that's what I said with the cashier, because I was like, all these things, it's okay. We have it here and there, but when it's like this, that's not right. That's not helping the cause. So, anyway, what I recognize is that for me to be genuinely healthy, and it involves me living in a way that's proximate with the people around me as well, the beings around me. And that's a difficult thing to kind of like accept or to acknowledge and even to consider. But that's part of the actuality. I mean, if we want ourselves to be peaceful and live like safety, there has to be peace and safety around us as a community. I say hi to people. That's how me and Xavier meet a while ago. He saw me sitting on the corner. I say hi to people. He's like, yo, what's up? We talk. And then here it is. Now we're chopping up. We're building a village on the internet, and additionally, but that's what it's about. That's why I say hi to people, because I want to live in a place where we at least recognize each other and like recognize and build some type of respect and understanding towards each other. Because it's only through that we're gonna have that society that we want, where people actually respect and recognize and work with each other.
It feels like an
exactly. So that goes to our conversations and just looking at each other and acknowledging each other when we're walking on the street. But it also exactly. It don't take much. It takes a whole lot, because I know a lot of people that are suffering. A lot of people are in their experiences, and it's like it's walking on eggshells. And so I know it's very extremely difficult, because I've been in like that. But at the same time, physically, if you just think about it, you don't even have to say hi. You can just like give a nod, give a wave. I've been doing it for nearly about 20 years now. So I have very fine knowledge about the nuances of all this journey. But it's just energy. It's sharing positive energy. And it goes a long way towards cultivating a sense of ease within the community. Particularly now, I'm known for doing that, and I tell people I'm a piece of shit. I'm no better or worse than anybody else. I walk with God, but like when I've acknowledged that people know me because of this, and people have a certain amount of trust and like comfort.
How's it going? Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
All right.
I'm about to go in my car real quick. Got a call.
Sorry.
Keep on going.
That's pretty much it. So I'll just like sum it up by just saying like it's awareness and recognizing that our well-being, our individual well-being, is also connected with the well-being of those around us, and we can find the solutions for ourselves. But if we just focus on that and put our blinders on and live a very isolated lifestyle where it's just us worrying about ourselves individually, like that ain't genuine, and it ain't enduring. So at some point we have to look at the people, the beings, the life around us, even the trees in addition, and be like, yo, how you doing, tree? How you doing, squirrel? And everything else like that. And that's what the genuine harmony is. That's what the genuine health and well-being is. So that's some of the things I've learned.
And then remind yourself about how grateful we are to be around all this life.
And there's a responsibility in tending and caring for it as well, for the life around us, but also for ourselves as part of that too. And that's the balance. That's what happens, because when we love everybody, that also includes ourselves. And it's not just a matter of like forsaking ourselves and like sacrificing ourselves for the well-being of others. It's just being part of the complete balance. I mean, Native kinfolk have a very strong tradition about that concept, that mindset about just relations. Of just all our relations, like love all of our relations, recognize and honor, respect all our relations, and that includes ourselves. So that's what's up, that's what's down, that's what's around, that's what's happening.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So what do you think? Let's hear this. What's something that let's say in the past like 2 weeks, who's someone that you've had this conversation with that you always try to reach out to? Who's someone that really just like just made your day, made your week? Something that you remember, something that made a change in your life and probably made a change in theirs.
Wow, that's a
something recent.
profound question right there. And actually, there are a few people that come to mind. I could talk about the very difficult conversation I had with a brother just last evening. That ended with me walking away and him refusing to shake my hand. But I know I've known this brother for years, and it's actually a productive conversation because I've had some epiphanies since then, just in the past day. That's one example. But I could talk about another sister I just talked with a few minutes ago, who provides a very provocative challenge for me just a couple of weeks ago, and it leads me to recognize the limitations within some very. Here's the thing, and I might have shared this with Xavier. When we had a conversation, I talked about the beautiful convo. It's one of the things I share as a convo starter with people. And the beautiful convo begins with this. This is level one of the beautiful convo. It's this: if you were to start a school from scratch, or a village from scratch, or a society and a civilization from scratch, who are 10 teachers from around the world, from all of the history and all the civilizations that you would want your students to know? Who are 10 teachers? So again, that, like I said, it's a combo start. A lot of people have to sit down and think about it in addition. So I asked, what was that?
It's a hard one.
It's a beautiful one, brother. It's a beautiful one. And everybody has legitimacy from their experience at this moment to answer that question. And that list might change, but that's part of the purpose of like going through those iterations and having a record, a track record of those iterations as well, because those students are learning from that. I've had that combo with high school students and additionally. So again, it's a combo start, and I can share my 10, and then we talk about that and build from there. So anyways, that's what I did a few weeks ago. Actually, it was the New Year, the Lunar New Year, a couple weeks ago, and I shared that in the location where I'm sitting at this moment. And in the course, it was late. I was tired, and I knew that. And I knew like I'm on my P's and Q's to be like responsible. So at some point, yeah.
Sorry, give me 1 second. Don't worry about it. I think he's. You're talking about the one upstairs, right? All right, I'm back.
So, like I said, I was talking about the beautiful Congo, and I shared my list of 10 questions a couple of weeks ago with a few young sisters who are here where I'm at the moment. And one of the responses, we had a number of questions. I didn't answer the questions very explicitly, to be honest with you. I answered it basically, but anyways, long story short, one of the comments that's made, one sister says, you should have some women on that list. And I'm just like, hold up, wait, you don't even know the people on my list, and all you young whippersnapper talking to your elder, tell me what I should do. This, you come up. So the conversation kind of like diluted from that point. We left on positive terms, and then additionally, I left saying, oh no, this generation doesn't know how to talk to elders, this and that. And again, it was late, I'm tired, my patience is less, whatever. But at the same time, there's truth to that statement. So and that's oftentimes the thing that we're buggerish about the most is like when people say something about it, I'm like, oh yeah, because it's honest. So anyways, that like within the next day or something, I said, aha, I've got an idea, and I came up with a list of 10 women. The thing about it is, and part of this, the secret and the catch is this: the list of the 10 women is actually the mothers of the first 10 teachers. So I can tell you, I can tell you the list, my list of 10 teachers. And I should probably wrap up the convo at this point from that, because I've got some other things I got to attend to. But I should. What was that?
Well, before you wrap it up, I just want to say it's real funny that you mentioned that because just right before I joined this live, me and Xavier were just mentioning how in our media company we really need to search for a like-minded female so we can get that point of view. That's very important. We need that in our place of talking so that we can keep that conversation going on both sides. So I just think that's funny that you mentioned that.
I'll share this list, and I'll share the second list, and then I'll share something about the traditional methodology of that balance of masculine, feminine, of male and female. So the first list is this. I'll say the names just outright, and then I can give some translations when there's the necessity. So it's Abraham Avinu, Krishna Sri Bhagavan, Lao Tzu, Tao Te Ching, Menelik, Rastafari, Siddhartha Bodhisattva, Yeshua Rabbanai, Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Diganawida Gayana Shigoa, Martin Luther, Hallelujah, and Robert Nesta. One love. So,
well, I'm gonna have to be doing some research.
It's beautiful, brother. It's schools built. Schools are built from these. Each of these teachers have lineages, literally, where schools, academies, universities are established, and just from those teachers. So, and from the students of those teachers, let alone, and the students of those students. So that's how heavy we're talking about. So the first one is Abraham. Just that's people know about Abraham. So that's one. Second one is Krishna, who's one of the leading personas within Hindu tradition, within India, in ancient Indian tradition. This third one is Lao Tzu, the teacher who Confucius Confucius reveres, and additionally, and so significantly influential, Tao Te Ching, and additionally within Chinese civilization. Fourth one is Menelik, the son of Solomon and Queen Sheba, who establishes the dynasty that leads all the way to Haile Selassie this past century within Ethiopia, and additionally. And so there's the inclusivity of Afrocentricity, in addition to African civilization within this list, which is very important and relevant. So, and the fifth one is Siddhartha Gautama, who is otherwise known as the Buddha. So I'm gonna leave it at that. The next one is Jesus. I'm gonna leave it at that. The next one is Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. I'll leave it at that. The next one after that is Diganawida. So with Diganawida, is the great peacemaker from Haudenosaunee. Actually, he is Cayuga, but Diganawida, along with Hiawatha, established the Guyana Shigoa, which is the law of the great peace, and that establishes the Haudenosaunee, which is the Iroquois Confederation, which that was 1,000 years ago, which exists to this day. And little known fact for the majority of people on this continent, it's actually the precursor and the foundation of the U.S. Constitution, because Benjamin Franklin and the framers of the Constitution were students of the Haudenosaunee, of the Iroquois Confederation, and built like the framework of the separation of powers, and additionally, that's the U.S. government system from the paradigm of the law of the great peace and the Haudenosaunee. So that's how influential it is, because we can see how the U.S. Constitution is reiterated around the earth, but how all the other nations around the earth from the United Nations and additionally have constitutions now, and additionally with the same kind of premise. So all of that is influenced by native traditional methodologies of political sharing. And there's a kicker to that one as well, which I said I'm going to get to at the conclusion of this joint. Exactly. Well, come on, Xavier. You have the pre-notes, Xavier. He's gotten this class. So that's what he took my thunder. Anyways, all right. So I'll finish the list. So let's dig into the weed. Now it's Martin Luther. Martin Luther, the Reformation, Protestant Christianity, also coming from the experience of traditional European ancestry, and additionally that kind of has a little bit of a reverberation from the Catholicist authoritarianism that precedes it. Love and peace all around. So that's number 9, and then number 10 is Robert Nesta. You might have heard of him by another name called Bob Marley. So we just got to round it out, representing the one love, and the cultures, the peoples reconciling, coming together. His is a narrative of mixed heritage and reconciling the different sides of his ancestry, but at the same time finding a spiritual awakening and then sharing that with the world, and it resonating around the world as well. So those are the 10 teachers. And then the second list that is a work product from the homework assignment that I got from beautiful sister here, is the mothers of all those 10. Because even, and I'm sharing this with Jewish brethren in addition, like, who would think about like who the name of the mother of Abraham is? Oh, what? Yes. So that's a list. I'll share it with you because I have to give it to her. I saw her earlier today, so I have to give this to her as well. But this is the list of the mothers of those 10 teachers. It might be backwards because I'm on selfie mode, but anyways. What was that?
Well, you're all good. I said you're all good. I took a screenshot, and we'll be saving this live too.
Beautiful.
So we'll have this live.
So anyways, that's the second list. Now here's the third thing that Xavier was getting to. They forgot the women, and that goes back to where we are today about like finding the healthy balance of how to recognize and respect and support male authority, masculine male authority, and how to acknowledge, respect, and support feminine female authority. And so, as I was talking about with Xavier a few weeks ago, with the Haudenosaunee, the way that it is done is through the clan system, because that's a vital and key factor within the methodology power sharing. So in the Haudenosaunee, in the Guyana-Goshawa, is in the law of the great peace. There are the tribes, and the tribes get together and work together. Each tribe has representation. The chiefs represent the tribes, and the chiefs are men. They sit in a circle. They make decisions about warfare, about economics, trade, and treaties, and everything else like that. The men are making those decisions. And so, wait a minute, it sounds very chauvinistic and this, that, and the other, exclusionary. Yeah, of course. How about this though? How about this though? Who selects the chiefs? The women. Matriarchs. The matriarchs, well, actually, before I get to the matriarchs, I have to say the clan, and describe what clans are. So we have the tribes. Tribes can be looked at like as nations, because that's actually what nations are. But the tribes are like the bigger entity. The closer entity are the clans, and the clans are just the extensions of the families. And that in the Haudenosaunee, that's the primary identifier. Like that's the most important thing for people, is like what clan they are, the deer clan or the bear clan or the turtle clan. And so that's people's primary thing, the rituals and how they relate with others, the stories, the principles and everything. It's all about the clan. And the people who are the leaders of the clans are the matriarchs, or the mothers. And so the mothers decide who from the clan amongst the men is going to be a chief. And that's who represents the immediate tribe of people, who is the tribe. One tribe consists of multiple clans, and so the mothers of each clan select the leaders of the clan, and then the leaders of the tribe who work with the other tribes. And actually the clans are intersectional. Like that's maybe a little bit of an inaccurate way of describing, but like there's a turtle clan within like the Seneca tribe, and then there's a turtle clan within the Cayuga tribe. So the clans are like fluid amongst many different tribes. So it's an involved methodology. But here's the point. So the women choose who the men leaders are, and the men are continually answerable. The positions are for life. It's like, okay, once they get it, it's no like re-election. It's like, there it is. Now live up to it. And if the man does not live up to it, guess who takes the man out? Oh, the women. So the men are continually accountable to the women. And that's part of the intrinsic balance. And so the men make difficult decisions, and additionally, and get the scrutiny and everything else for whatever dirty work is involved in that. And meanwhile, the women tend to what the relationships, making sure everybody's taken care of within the family, within the fold, and additionally, and being that extension of that nurturing, motherly, natural experience amongst the family and amongst the clans. And so, and it's respected, it's valued. The children see the men respecting the matriarchs, and additionally, and listening and obeying what the matriarchs are saying. Even, and it's not a matter of matriarchs saying, do this, do that. It's a matter of like the men being proactive, and so it's, and the children see this, and so it's not just a matter of emulating the masculine methodologies of authoritarianism, and just even and then even feminine women doing it the same way, because that's not the answer. The answer is not being equal opportunity exploiters or whatever else like that. It's about having the both the nature of the strong and assertive, but also the strong and nurturing, and seeing that respected and valued from all sides, and not just like, oh, isn't that nice? Aren't they nice and nurturing today? And like, here's some money. Go buy a dress. It's not like that. It's like, yo, respect and honor, and yes, mother, thank you, matriarch, honored one. And it's like, it doesn't even have to be like, it's not even like advertised or whatever, because that's the nature of things. And it doesn't have to be like in people's faces, or it doesn't have to be campaigned or whatever else, because it's naturally part of how the community lives. And it supports the family, it supports the relationship between husband and wife, and additionally, and that's just, it's all part of the political system of the cooperation between the extending clans and villages and tribes. So, and that's something, like Xavier said, the framers of the Constitution excluded from the power sharing agreements. And just conveniently said, oh no, that part of it, nah. Now I'm being somewhat presumptuous and speaking after the fact, whatever, because I don't have the transcripts of what the actual decision making was, but effectively observing it from the records, or from what transpires afterwards. That's the basic, like, paraphrasing. No, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, it's missing. So what can you say
anyway,
about
this
that?
speaks for itself, and now we see the results of that. I mean, after a few centuries, there's the dissatisfaction. And additionally, so a big thing about it is accountability, because again, and that's another thing too, I didn't say with Xavier, so he cannot steal this thunder. It's accountability, and that's a big thing now that we're dealing with, because in the republic system, because the republic, there's a lot of Greek, obviously, ancient Greece, and republican methodology within the political methodology of the U.S. as well, and the whole notion of quote unquote democracy. So in the Haudenosaunee, in the Guyana-Negotiable, where the law of great peace, there's accountability, because when a chief is appointed for life, and if they're tripping, there's two options. Either the chief removes himself, or the war chief comes and says, your services are no longer needed, plot out, and that's the end of days. So like the chief had to like be upright. He had to live by a different set of rules. He had to be an example, and additionally, and if he did not live up to that, plot out, gone, and that's it. No replacement. And that's a big thing, because one recognizes that accountability, one lives that way. One has to be that way continually. But when one knows, like, oh, I'm only gonna be this way for 4 years, and then I can cash out and go get a nice deal with like the corporation and be a consultant for the rest of my 50 years or whatever else. That's nice living. That's not accountability then, because it's just used for something in purpose, for some other like quid pro quo. Yeah. So that's another element too, is like the notion of being appointed for life. And things go sour, whatever. It's not just a matter of like a political party saying who's our nice movie star that we could put in today that's going to appease the people and minimize the protests. So it's life, and again, it's the relationship, it's the respect, it's recognizing of the interdependence that we have with each other, in solving the problems in a genuine way, and not just waiting for the next cycle to kind of rewash whatever else is going on. So, anyways, that's part of the spiel.
That was a lot. That
All
was a
right,
lot.
all
I
right,
love that.
cool.
There's a lot of like I find it very interesting comparing like what you're talking about, like tribes and how the inner workings of these work with clans and how that translates to now, as in government, states, cities, communities, and how on such a bigger scale there's similarities, but it I'm trying to think. Like, I feel like it's just so more grounded when you're talking about uh, tribes. And now, when we're talking about this big macro scale, and then also talking about like the United States, I can't speak for other countries, but it just seems so. It seems like there's a wall between every hierarchy, I guess. It doesn't feel like we're all on one team. It just feels like uh, we are an ant with a job, and we have to perform that
Mm.
job, and that's about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're getting into a whole nother realm of like considerations when we talk about what the experience of society is today. But one consideration again is just what I mentioned before about relationship, and there's a lot of tremendous wisdom that exists within native methodologies of just recognizing our relationship with the life around us, and being respectful, attentive to that relationship, honoring that relationship, being continual mindful about our decisions, about what we consume, what we accept, and additionally, in understanding how that affects the life around us. When things are made around us from distant land, and it's in sweatshop conditions, and additionally, we're less mindful of that, and so we tend to care less about that. But when we are mindful, be like, yo, where is this coming from? Is this fair trade? How are the people living? Are they getting paid fairly wages? How is their health? This, that, and the other. Then we become we're increasingly mindful of our purchasing decisions. Hi, sister, how you doing? We're increasingly mindful of our purchasing decisions, what we consume, and additionally, and to be honest, we do it less. We consume less because we know, like, yo, a lot of the stuff that we utilize, that we think we need initially, is coming from exploitation. I've shared this with kinfolk before. Is that, I mean, at the risk of being a little bit of a downer or whatever, like, this is a pirate ship. The United States is a pirate ship from the very beginning. And there's a lot of beautiful. I love everybody. I love all Americans. I love everybody. But it's beneficial to recognize that it is a culture of exploitation from the very from the very foundation. When we talk about the U.S. Constitution, additionally, I don't practice the U.S. law because it's classist, racist, and genocidal. We got half an hour, 30, actually not half an hour, 30 seconds remaining. It's closing us up on this one. But on the positive note, there is an answer, and it's just relations, respect, honor, share, and build exactly where we are, and be that love and that